In the far corner of a forgotten valley, where fog rolled like tides and the sky always seemed just a bit too gray, there was a village called Elmsridge. It wasn't on any modern map, not because it was hidden, but because people had simply stopped remembering it existed. The few who still lived there didn't leave, and those who did never came back. But there was one house, set on a ridge just above the others, that no one went near. The shutters were always closed. The chimney never smoked. The path up the hill had been overtaken by moss and thorns. Everyone knew who lived there, or rather, who used to. His name was Ezra Halden, once a celebrated artist, praised in cities far away for his haunting realism. His paintings had once been described as memories frozen in time. But Ezra hadn't left the house in over 2 decades. No one had seen him. No one had heard him. Some said he had gone mad. Others claimed he died years ago and the house was just pretending to be occupied. But the truth was more unsettling. Because late at night, when the mist cleared and the wind settled, flickers of light could be seen inside, and sometimes shadows moved across the windows. Mira Brandt arrived just before sunset. She wasn't from Elmsridge. In fact, she hadn't even heard of it until 2 weeks earlier, when a letter with no return address landed in her mailbox. No name, no explanation, just a single line. "The painting you don't remember is the one that remembers you," and attached, a torn photograph of a child standing in front of a canvas with a blurred figure behind it. Written on the back, Ezra Halden, Silent Hills, 1998. She didn't know why she came, only that something in her chest twisted when she held the photo. A memory she couldn't place, a feeling she hadn't felt in years. The village welcomed her with suspicion. The innkeeper handed her a rusty key and warned, "Don't go up to the ridge." She nodded, but she'd already decided. The climb to Ezra's home was steep and silent. Crows watched from the trees. Branches leaned across the trail like crooked fingers. At the top, the house stood crooked but intact, weather-beaten, quiet, waiting. Mira knocked. No response. She turned the handle. It was unlocked. The door creaked open, and the scent of oil paint and dust filled her lungs. Inside, the house was still, not abandoned, lived in. Brushes in water jars, canvases leaning against every wall, paint mixed on pallets, still wet. But there were no finished paintings. Every canvas was unfinished. Figures without faces, landscapes with missing skies, eyes without souls. And then, at the far end of the studio, a large canvas, covered, chained at the corners, locked. Mira stepped toward it. "I wouldn't touch that." She turned. Ezra stood in the doorway, older than she imagined, beard long, eyes hollow, but aware. He didn't ask who she was. He didn't look surprised. He simply said, "You finally came back." They didn't talk much. Ezra gave her a brush the next morning and pointed at a blank canvas. She hadn't painted in years, didn't even remember learning, but her hand moved. Not like she was creating something new, like she was finishing something old. Ezra didn't sleep, not really. He would pace at night, whisper to the covered canvas, paint, then destroy. Mira started watching him, then reading, old journals, scattered sketches, clues. He was searching for something, or someone. She found a box one day, locked tight, buried under a floorboard. Inside, newspapers, photos, letters. A story began to form. Ezra had a daughter. She went missing when she was 5. The same year Mira was adopted. Mira's dreams turned vivid. She saw a room with red curtains, a voice humming, paint on her fingers. She'd always thought her childhood began at age 6, but there were holes. Too many. One night, lightning struck a nearby tree. The crash shook the house. Ezra didn't flinch. He stood in front of the locked canvas, key in hand. He looked at Mira. "Do you want to remember?" He unlocked it, pulled away the chains. The cloth dropped to the floor. Behind it, a portrait of a girl standing in a field, green coat, brown boots, holding a paintbrush. Mira's knees buckled. It was her, but younger, 5 years old, eyes full of life, of wonder, of trust. But behind her, in the shadows, a man smiling. Too much. Eyes too wide, Ezra whispered. "That's the last thing I painted before you vanished." The following days blurred. Mira remembered screams, sirens, her mother crying, a storm. She'd run away. Someone chased her, but not Ezra. He'd been searching for her, painting her face over and over to keep the memory alive, trying to bring her back. In the basement, Mira found another canvas, uncovered, not locked. It was Ezra, holding a child, but his face was blurred, as if even he couldn't forgive himself. That night, Mira confronted him. "You let me go." Ezra broke. "I didn't. I lost you. And when I found the trail, it was too late." They sat together. He showed her the portrait again and handed her the brush. Mira hesitated, but then she stepped forward and painted a single line, a thread of gold, from her younger self's hand to the figure of Ezra in the shadows. Connection. The room went silent. The candles flickered out, and in the canvas, the girl smiled, for the first time. The next morning, Ezra was gone. Only the canvas remained, finished. Mira returned to the city, opened a gallery, but it wasn't filled with her art. It was filled with the lost, the broken, the unfinished. People came, Saturday painted, and slowly remembered who they were. In the center of the gallery hangs one painting of a child and her father, reaching for each other across a gap of time and silence. Below it, a plaque. Some memories are not lost. They're just waiting to be painted.